Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of Afternoon Drive Home on IC Radio in the town of Geraldine, Alabama. Had you ever heard of Geraldine
Big city.
before?
Big
Oh, it's
city.
a big town.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know that red light down there? Used to be a stop sign when I graduated from high school. I was actually at a place of business, and here in Geraldine, this guy said, "You ain't from here," and I said, "Yes, I am," and he said, "No, you ain't." And I said, "Yes, I am." He was just arguing. That meant that he liked me, by the way, is what I heard later, because he argued with me. And I said, "I can prove it." I graduated in 1977, and this was a stop sign, four-way stop right here. And it caught him off guard, and he said, "You are from here." So anyway, we got a small town, and we love it. Close enough to Albertville, just right down the road from them. They're growing like gangbusters there.
Yes, they are.
And so we go to a church, it's Cowboy Church. And so we go to the same one that Mr. Chesser here goes to. And Stephanie, we're trying to get Stephanie on the show with us. And
she's scared.
She's scared. I've got a feeling when you call her scared, that's going to make her come over here.
Nah, probably
Is
not.
she one of those?
No.
So you made a fantastic trip. And I wanted to get, we were talking about it at church yesterday.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I wanted you to come on here and talk about it, because we've all heard about the flooding in Kentucky and all the things that
Eastern Kentucky and the big valleys.
And so you guys took some chuck wagons out there.
Well, we didn't take the wagon. We just took cooking supplies. And went up there to a little town called Hindman. And it is actually the county seat. And there's only 730 people in the city.
About like Geraldine.
About like Geraldine. But it does have a little downtown district with old buildings and the courthouse and all of that.
And then that makes them bigger than Geraldine.
That makes them bigger, right. But when the little branch, I call it a branch, I don't know what they called it, it wasn't over 5 foot wide at normal, 7, 8 inches deep. They had a lot of previous rain, and then they got, I don't remember, 11 or 12 inches in 6 or 7 hours. And that water has nowhere to go in that valley, because you had the branch where we was at right in front of City Hall. You had the branch, then you had the City Hall and a little parking lot, the road, and then a mountain. So it had nowhere to go. And where we was set up was probably 40 foot higher elevation than the branch, but it got up halfway of the front door of the courthouse. So there was a lot of water come through there. In the downtown district, there was some 2-story buildings, and it actually got up into the 2nd floor of those buildings.
Sounds like kind of the Hurricane Katrina, when that came through. A lot of folks were devastated with that.
Right.
It ruined a lot of houses, a lot of busineses.
Yes, ma'am.
It's hard for us to imagine here.
It is. And they said that's the first time they know of it ever flooding that bad. They've said they've seen it in the roads and a couple houses, but it literally washed houses away. I mean, there was nothing but the foundation blocks.
It was a fast rain too, wasn't it?
It was
just
a fast.
Would not stop.
Right. And it was, I didn't go looking at all the destruction because I just don't like seeing all of that, But I had made friends with a deputy up there in the few days we was there, and he come by Wednesday. He said, "Get in." I said, "Well, as long as I ain't in the back seat and have the bracelets on." So, but he took me around his area of the county, just showing me different things. Took me to where this elderly lady lived. She had her house and her brother's house, and it washed her brother's house away, and he died in it. And they said she was living in her car for 4 weeks before anybody knew it. And then they finally found her, and one neighbor up the road brought her a camper, and another put it next to another neighbor's house for her to have something to stay in. And she was just as humble. She didn't want to ask for nothing. They said what made them realize that she was still there in her car is she come out one day to where they was handing out stuff and asked to borrow a towel and a bath cloth. She said, "I'll bring it back." So that's just how humble she was, hard-headed, whatever. I mean, but she just didn't want to ask
Women
for help.
from the South.
Yeah. But, and they're very resilient. Um, they was people still living in tents. And it's a hard area up there anyway because when they shut down the coal mines, they didn't have anything to do, so.
In proximity, where would this be as far as, 'cause I'm a big Loretta Lynn fan and I love Coal Miner's Daughter. It's one of my favorite movies. So, Butcher Holler, but would it be the other end of the state? How close would it be from that? Or would you have
I
any idea?
don't know where Butcher Holler
I meant
was.
to look up that.
Um, we
Because that was
was
coal mining district too.
we was east of Corbin, Kentucky. Corbin is on I-75. We was about 80 miles east of I-75. The biggest road that run through there was Highway 80, and it run, I know, from 75 over to Virginia. But yeah, I don't remember where Butcher Holler was.
Fine folks up in there.
They are very fine folks, and was
hard-working folks as well. Right?
They are, and they was just so appreciative of everything. We went to Western Kentucky twice earlier in the year, and it was more to where people could pull in and stop and get out. And with this, there wasn't room, so they blocked off one lane of the highway and made it like a drive-through service for people to get their food. And there was a lady, when we got there Friday, there was a lady said, "Oh, it's drive-through, you got to keep them rolling, you can't stop them." Stephanie said, "No, we don't work that way." So when they come through, if they wanted prayers, I prayed with them. If they wanted to talk, I sat in their window and I talked with them. Had one man just pulled up and got out of his truck and come around and started talking. Of course, everybody there knew him and they didn't say anything because he loved to talk, probably more than I do, and that's pretty bad.
That's kind of like we were doing. You guys have been involved in a lot of things. Bobby Ledbetter, Twin City Used Car Sales, has fed a lot of people. When COVID hit, it was pretty rough and hit a lot of folks.
Right.
And so it's had a lot of food events, and you guys have been at every single one of them.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
We do the same thing. We let people come as they want to. There's
right.
No time limit.
No time limit at all. And we're planning another trip. I'm trying to gather up a team to go back before I put out a date yet.
Now, why do you do this? I know it's a ministry within itself, but why do you have such ambition to do this?
God told me to go feed his sheep.
So that's simple, right?
Yes, ma'am. Just simple. He said go, so I always try to do what he says.
So approximately how many people did you guys feed?
I'm going to say we was there for 5 days, and between breakfast and supper, we roughly fed 500 a day. So it's a lot of hard work. I do a lot of sitting around. Everybody else does the work. So
that's not true. This guy works. But that is a ministry within itself. How were you received by the people who lived in the town?
Very well.
Good reception.
Because like with Rusty's song, Crazy Christians, they considered us crazy Christians. Because as soon as we got set up, every time somebody come by, we'd wave and holler at them. And within the second day, they got to where they'd blow the horn if we didn't wave.
Oh.
So, and the way I picked that little town out is I knew a guy that had been up there ministering, and I just Googled the city hall, got the number, and talked to the mayor, and he was excited. Yes, come on, we'll put you somewhere.
Yeah, that's all you have to do is ask. I mean, anybody will be willing to take. And I don't know, situations happen, and we always wonder how we would handle it. What if something like that happened here?
Right.
What would we do?
We wasn't here when all the big tornadoes, we didn't live up here then.
Yeah, we lived in Charlotte during
right.
that time.
So I can visualize how it would have been, and somebody coming in out of the blue and want to help and feed. I know there was people around here that done that, but just think about somebody coming from another state to do it, and you just gotta show your appreciation to them. There was this couple that owned a pizza place up there. I think they said they actually had 4 locations, and the one in Hindman lost everything, not from the water, but from the power, so they lost all of their stuff. And he was, I can't remember what day it was. He was next to the last car that come through, and he said, "Me and my wife want to feed you." And I'm thinking, okay, where y'all live? And then he said, "We have the pizza place up here. Y'all come pick up some pizza."
Mhm.
So my nephew went up, and they wanted to give him two pizzas. He said, "It's only three of us." They give him two pizzas. Worked out good. We give one of them away.
Kind folks. Yeah, sometimes we'll listen to the news all day long.
Right.
Well, I don't. I learned not to.
Yeah,
But
I
you'll
don't.
listen to the news, and if you listen to that long enough, you're going to think everybody in the whole wide world is just done. Might as well go on ahead and fold it up.
Right, right.
There's no kindness, but there is when you get away from the news and you get away from the. Now I'm media, so listen to this media. But when you listen to the standard hardcore media, I mean, that's all you hear.
Right.
But we run into great people all the time.
Yes, ma'am. We met these two families. I had naturally I have on Sunday, if we're there, I'll have a little cowboy church service. Mm-hmm. And these two families came. They have 12-year-old triplet girls. They're a mess.
Wow.
But after they
Think
come
about
to
prom, they get married all at the same time. That's going to be expensive.
After they come to the church service, they come back every day and stayed with us while we was there.
Oh, nice.
And the little girls, they wanted to help serve the food, and so it was awesome. We made family while we was there. So it was an awesome trip. Out of the three that we've took so far this year, I'm willing to say this was the best one. So we had a blessed trip to start with in January when we went to Mayfield, and then about a month later we went to Dawson Springs, and they treated us in Dawson Springs like they did in Hindman. Just everybody was glad to see us, but I still say this one was better. So
there's just something about small town spirit.
Right, and where we're going to go next time is not very far from where we was at. It's just at a better location where people can get out and come visit us and sit around,
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think I enjoy that better.
Mm-hmm.
So
just sit out there and just meet the folks.
Right. You get to learn more about them. You can hear more of their stories of what happened, and people really just want to get it off their chest.
They want you to listen to them and to feel like they're appreciated.
Right.
And they're not just some number out there.
And they're not just alone in the world, even though that one government organization hadn't helped them very much, I don't think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I won't call their name, but it starts with an F.
Mm-hmm. E. I believe. But you know who we're talking about.
Yeah, they know who we're talking about.
Well, a lot of things are kind of led by an agenda.
Right.
And that's sad.
It is.
When people can't get the help they need. I mean, think about this. I know I whine and complain. Let's say we've had a little rain and we lose the power.
Yeah.
I'm complaining, just carrying on.
Oh, yeah.
But imagine the devastation they had.
Right.
Days, no electricity.
No nothing.
No nothing. And you're afraid to drink any water.
Right.
It could be contaminated. I guess they went through that as well.
I'm sure they did. Of course, there was bottles of water everywhere.
And but that's still inconvenient, though.
Right.
I mean, bottled water, I kind of like running the faucet.
Yeah.
Run out.
It seems like it's worked out better for us to wait about a month before we go in. Because in the first month, there are going to be tons of people there. Yeah. And then they leave, and there's nobody left to help them. So it kind of makes a difference to go in there about a month afterwards, or 2 months, just let them know people still care about them, And the mayor of this little town of Hindman, I've never seen a mayor like him. And may be more towns like that, I don't know. But there was 3 city employees. The mayor, the city clerk, and he had one other employee. They done everything. The mayor was out working on water lines. I mean,
that sounds like the mayor here. Geraldine.
I know that Sunday. I know him and the one guy started Sunday morning. They had a bad water leak, and they looked for that water leak all day, and they finally found it about dark. So Monday morning they was out tearing up pipe and replacing it.
Don't you love officials like that?
I
Town
do.
officials that is not in my job description.
Right.
They don't have
Right.
that attitude at all. If it's got to be done, they just do it.
Exactly.
Well, I'm surprised. You know, we've had music in the Geraldine Park here. We're going on our third year doing that. You guys have always helped us with that
Yes,
as well. And our mayor, Chuck Abels, he's the one who puts the lights up, and you know, and I
Ah,
kept
okay.
saying, yeah, he's the one who does all that stuff to get it ready.
Okay.
So we got a good mayor here
Yeah.
too. Yeah, I take a
Definitely.
small town over a big
Oh
one
yes,
any
ma'am.
day.
I kind of like our little mayor up in Henniker too.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
He's,
isn't he awesome?
he's a pretty good old boy.
Yeah. We like him too. Small town.
Yes, ma'am. Very much. It's kind of like the little town I grew up in. Of course, our mayor in Red Level was also the VOAG teacher at school.
Uh-huh.
So he got a lot done at school.
I want to talk about the Cowboy Church for a few minutes. I'm in love with the Cowboy Church. And Philip Gillen actually introduced me. I forgot how Philip and I knew each other. Oh, I know how it was. I was teaching some craft classes at Hobby Lobby.
Okay.
And a lady came to one of my classes. And so we got to talking, where do you go to church at? And she said, I go to the Cowboy Church. And I said, tell me about the Cowboy Church. And then she said, I'd heard about it. I actually had a brother-in-law who used to go to the one in Albertville.
Right.
And Terry was his name. And so he was it just fit perfect for him. He's a cowboy, and he was also on the police force in
Right.
Albertville. And so it just fit in, and he just never had went to a church before.
Right.
I mean, it's not that he was anti-God, he just didn't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, so I feel very comfortable in Cowboy Church. So what makes the Cowboy Church different from other churches? And no, we're not slamming any churches.
No, we're not.
It's just
No.
preference. You know, it's what I like.
Take away a lot of the barriers. There is no dress code. I mean, as long as you look decent. You know, say on Sunday morning, if we had a cow or a horse get down and we was out there wallering in the mud to get it up and we didn't have time to change, you go on to church like that, everybody say get over it. If you smelled like poo, they may tell you to get out in the back, but
we'll get a hose pipe and spray you down.
Right. But I mean, you know, it's just it's a loving. Everybody's always loving on everybody else. I hadn't seen any cliques inside the Cowboy churches. It's just a free, open environment, and it's not necessarily for cowboys. You don't have to have a horse. You don't even have to like horses. You know, just we believe in the Bible from the cover to cover, and
you just want the real deal.
that's it. And
just plain. Just
I've listened to a lot of Cowboy church pastors, and they tell it like it is. And some regular churches may not tell it as hard like it is as a Cowboy pastor. They get down to the nitty gritty. So.
Yeah, but I'm kind of the person, I need instruction.
Right.
You know, I need to be told plain what I need to do. And with no fancy words, just tell me what I'm about to do. I mean, I'm about to fall off a cliff or something. Just tell me. And I think the people need that now.
They do.
We're tired of the fluffy stuff.
Right, yeah. You know, we joined the Cowboy Church in 11. So, and we traveled working construction for years, and
you've always served, haven't you?
Well, no, because I didn't get saved till 2012. Yeah, 2012. So just never had time because the way we worked, and wasn't that I didn't believe in God, I always have. And then when we moved to Henniker, we found Crossover Cowboy Church, and it's just, it all fell into place. So, and then we started doing a chuck wagon at Crossover. I don't remember if it was 14 or 15, and we run with it a long time, and we tried to quit. You know, I tried to quit doing it because it hurts physically, but I don't think God's gonna let me. So and then when we changed over to Lookout, we just went over to help them get started because we knew the AFCC stuff, and God never told us to leave. So that's kind of where we're
Well,
at.
we knew Curtis, and we knew Stephanie. So I told Phil, I said, I want to go to a cowboy church. And Phil said, which one? I said, find out where Curtis and Stephanie go.
Yeah,
So I know
'cause
you guys, you just, I mean, you're the real deal. And you don't see the real deal in a lot of things anymore. It's just, almost everything is a facade. It's a fake,
right,
but it's a real thing.
that's true.
I really do appreciate you guys.
Thank you. We enjoy doing what we do. Um, a lot of times she can't go because of work. I, I guess I work for her. I call her Miss Boss. But since God decided I didn't need to go work for a living several years ago, I piddle. I don't do a lot, and that's honestly anymore when we do go cooking. I honestly don't do as much as I used to because I really can't. They keep a stove handy for me.
Well, now what's involved? Because you guys helped us, and I've got to mention this. We had a ribbon cutting. So I've owned my show since about 2005. And so what I would do is I would work with a radio station, just so they would air it. And so we had a ribbon cutting, and I talked to the folks at the Chamber of Commerce in Scottsboro, Mountain Lakes Chamber of Debbie and all them out there. They're such awesome folks. And so Debbie talked to Phil and told Phil, said that I know how ambitious Donna is. And she's wanting this ribbon cutting, and you just tell her if 10 people show up, that's going to be a big deal. We had 400 people show up.
Right.
Over 400. And then Debbie gets there, and there are people everywhere. And then the owner of the station gets there, and she had told Phil, now tell Donna that probably not a lot of people, it was on a weekday, people at work and that kind of thing. But the word gets out when the cowboy church is going to be somewhere.
When they're cooking, when they know the food, they come.
Mm-hmm.
And we call it chuck wagon cooking, but it's the basic is the same, but we don't cook like they used to on a wagon or cattle drive, because then they was only cooking for 10 to 20 people. So you had 2 tripods and 2 pots.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you feeding 250 to 300 at a time,
400.
things are a little different. We have
Uh-huh.
big cookers set up. We still cook over fire. Everything's
There's
in
nothing like the chili.
right. Everything's in cast iron,
Mm-hmm.
cooked over fire, including the cornbread
Mm-hmm.
and the cobblers. And by the way, she's award-winning cornbread over there.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah, she has it.
What's your secret, Stephanie? You want to come up here and tell everybody your secret?
You ain't gonna say nothing.
You gotta eat some of it. It's really good.
But the big pot we was using, the kettle, it's a 25-gallon kettle.
Oh wow, that's a bunch of
And
chili.
when you fill it up that far from the rim, that's
Uh-huh.
a lot of chili.
Uh-huh.
Or red beans and rice, or vegetable beef soup.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of it.
Well, your barbecue is really good too. So
It
there's
ain't
a
bad.
unique way of cooking that as well. And you got to get there you could spend the night there.
When I put the Boston butts on, I want them to stay on at least 12 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And we just rub them with this top secret rub.
I bet you don't tell me.
No.
If you told me that to kill me, I'd be one of those
Exactly.
situations.
But we rub them real heavy with that.
Uh-huh.
Put them on the smoker for 4 hours. Pull them off, double wrap them with foil, and put them back on for another 8 hours. And they're supposed to just grab the bone and it peel out.
Well, and it does. And I know that several events you didn't feel well, but you were there anyway.
Yes, ma'am. So that's how
We're
it
in
goes.
Boaz. We're in Boaz at one of their events.
Ah,
They're
yeah,
going to
they
do
tried-
that again this year.
Yeah, and they tried to arrest me there,
Yeah.
but
That was a story. I thought you were joking.
no.
So you told me somehow you managed that.
Yeah, I sweet talked them, got a hug and a picture.
Yeah. I know. It wound up being friends.
Right. But it's all good. There's a lot of fun in it. There's a lot of tears in it. So it's just, you got to really love cooking that way, and you got to really love God to cook for you and feed his sheep.
Yeah.
So that's just,
And again, the food events that you guys have, y'all have asked us to include you in every one of them. I'm pretty sure Bobby Ledbetter will do another one.
Right.
And I'll tell you somebody else that's an unsung hero too, and that's Miles Smith
Yeah.
with the Cattle Stampede
That is true.
Steakhouse. I tricked him.
Uh,
Oh yeah. His person, Christy Poe, actually knows everything that's going on in that company. I'm gonna tell you, she's been with him for years, like decades. So Christy said, "Now we can't get Miles to do anything. We can't get him to. He just wants to do all the work in the background. He won't get out and say
Right.
anything." I said, "I'll handle him." So what I did is I walked up to him, and Bobby was talking to some folks out there. It was in Rainsville. And so I just walked up to him and just did the camera like this, and we were on it. And Chrissy said, "I don't know how you did it." She said, "That's probably the only time he's ever been on the camera." But he did great because his heart's in it.
Yeah, that's true. It's very true. And Bobby's heart's really in it.
And that's just a whole bunch of people with their heart in it.
Yes, ma'am. It's all fun.
Making it work. And I get to be the Walmart greeter.
Right.
Well, they want me away from the food.
Well, you got to have
go out there and
somebody.
speak to people.
You got to have somebody to do it.
Yeah, jump around, play
Right.
with kids and stuff like that. Yeah. And our Alabama Secretary of State, John Merrill,
Yes.
he's been in every one. He's always said, "Now, don't let me know the next one. I'm coming."
Right.
I think he missed one.
I think you're right.
Something came
Yeah.
up, and it was wedding anniversary. They had to
Right.
take Cindy somewhere, and so they had it. I said, "Yeah, you take your wedding anniversary. Do that."
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a host of folks. Jim Ziegler's come. We've had a whole
Right.
bunch of folks come.
Oh, yeah. Got to hobnob with the politicians.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're good ones though.
They
we only
are.
wanted the good ones.
Right,
out.
right, yeah. But they are a good bunch of guys, you know.
Let's talk about Don Hunton for a minute.
Okay. Great guy. I love him to death.
He sure is, and I love his wife. Isn't
Yes,
she
ma'am. Miss Judy. Sure enough. Yeah, we met them about a year or so before we started the church, and I was a year and a half. Anyway, they were still going to the Baptist church, and Brother Philip gave him my name and number to call me because I'd be a good one to preach over there. And he called me and said, "I want you to come preach." I said, "Whereabouts?" And he told me the name of the Baptist church, and I said, "You want me to preach at a Baptist church?" But it all worked out great, you know. We did, and me and him actually went through the pastoral process together with the Cowboy churches. So, and good guy, love him to death. Hard worker.
Baptisms are a little different in the Cowboy church.
They are a little different. You use the cow trough.
That's just fine with me.
Oh yeah, it don't matter as long as it's water.
And I'll tell you what, it's probably a whole lot warmer. I was baptized when I was about 14 years old. There's a place on Cheehaw Mountain, and it's called Dry Creek. And I don't care what even in the hot summertime, it's cold there. It's the highest peak in Alabama.
Right.
And so they took us out there and baptized us there in July. It was still cold.
I bet.
So it doesn't really matter where, does it?
No, ma'am. It sure doesn't.
Less than a minute left in this 30 minutes.
Okay.
You want to hang around another 30 minutes?
I think I'm about done.
Thank you, Curtis, for being on the show with us.
Thank you for having
It's
me.
always so much fun. Love Stephanie to death.
Oh, yes, ma'am. She hides in the background.
Yeah, we'll have to do her like I did Miles Smith. Just kind of have a camera
I
come on her.
did get an actual good picture of her up there. She was showing off
You got to share it.
She was showing off her good biscuits.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you make some good... Okay, we're going to have to talk. Guys, thank you so much for watching Afternoon Drive Home on IC Radio in the town of Geraldine, Alabama, your source for news and entertainment. You can find us on television 2 different ways, local television. You can find us on Charter 182 and also Abundant TV, which is found on Roku, Amazon, and you can just find us all over the place. Oh, and by the way, we're going to be in Australia in just a few weeks.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about this 1 million more listeners.